Shalom. This is the 8th chapter of the series of the Gospel Straight Through. I'm the messenger, Big Yalda. And to my right,
Brother Yerushalayim.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
We're going to jump right into the lesson today. Matthew chapter 8, verse 1.
Matthew chapter 8, verse 1. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him.
Now let's give a good backtrack on what's going on. Remember, on Matthew chapter 5, verse 1, it said, give me that right quick.
Matthew 5, verse 1. And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain, and when he was set, his disciples came unto him.
So now let's go back to 8.
Matthew 8, verse 1. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him.
Same multitudes that was following him in chapter 5.
Verse 2. And behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean.
Now, when you see the leper, the reason he went up into the mountain because there was a multitude, and there was a lot of people in that multitude, because the leper was there. He's not going to teach the leper; he's going to heal the leper.
Right.
He came for the healing of the nations. So now he went up to the mount to teach his disciples, not the whole multitude, because the disciples had to be an extension of him.
Right.
So, and now you see this leper, the leper, he comes and worship. And you know, right then, any good Bible student or any good, if you want to call yourself saved person, every Hebrew should bring an alarm in the head, because he just said over here in Matthew 4 and Matthew 4 and 8.
Matthew 4 and verse 8. Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them, and saith unto him, All these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then said Jesus unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written.
What is written?
Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve.
So now this leper in chapter 8 comes worshiping him. That should have thrown a red flag, because you get a lot of these non-Messianic Hebrews that'll say, see, that's idolatry. But if you go and look up the word worship, there's different forms of worship.
Right.
And then you have to notice that Mashiach said that worship Yah, and him only shall thou serve. See, in our days back then, in Yerushalayim, or in this case, Capernaum, people were given honored with certain homage. Sometimes they would kiss the hand, sometimes they would bow down, and that's the word worship.
Right.
Kind of like how, you know, in the churches they worship the pastor, but they really worship the pastor. Like everything he says, word is bond. He's above the Bible. Not that's idolatry.
Right.
So when you look at the word worship, you have to be very. When you see the word in the book worship, you have to be very detail oriented to know what type of worship.
Right.
And next he's going to say something after worship. He's going to say something else.
If that verse Matthew 8 and 2. Matthew 8 verse 2. And behold, there came a leper and worshiped him, saying, Lord.
Saying,
Lord.
That means master.
Right.
Or what he's doing, he's constantly humbling himself. He's constantly coming to a state of humility to give homage to Mashiach. Now,
If thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. Verse 3. And Jesus put forth his hand.
Mashiach Yahushua put forth his hand
and touched him, saying, I will.
If you will, can you make me clean? I will.
be thou clean.
Be thou,
And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. Verse 4. And Jesus said unto him, see that thou tell no man, but go thy way, show thyself to the priests, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a testimony unto them.
That Moses commanded, we all know that Moses did not command that. We know the Most High told Moses because we know that we asked the Most High to stop talking with us. And Sinai, we asked him. And he said, we said we'll hear Moses. Matter of fact, let's go there. Let's prove it. Exodus 20. Exodus 20 and 18.
Exodus 20 and verse 18.
Now remember, he spoke the first 10. That's why they say 10 commandments. He spoke them. Let's start at 20. Let's go to 20, verse 20 and 1.
Exodus 20 verse 1. And God spake all these words, saying.
Not Moses, not Daniel, not anybody else. The Most High spake all these words, saying. You go ahead and read on down to 18. And now this is what happens.
Verse 18. And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off.
We ran.
Verse 19. And they said unto Moses, speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die. There
you go. So the first 10 he spoke. That's why people say the 10 commandments. But there's way more commandments than 10. You have way more commandments for your house than 10. So how you expect the Most High to rule a nation with just 10 commandments? Just 10 commandments. All right. You see, you know, we and all you're getting an understanding.
Right.
Let's go to Leviticus 14.
Okay.
Let's see about this gift. Let's see about this leprosy.
Okay. Leviticus 14
and let's start at 1. Give me 1 and 2.
Okay. Leviticus 14 verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, this shall be the law of the leper. In the day of his cleansing, he shall be brought unto the priest.
What did Mashak just tell this leper to do? See, Mashak went by the commandments.
Right.
He lived the commandments. He was the walking embodiment of the commandments.
Right.
And let's go to let's see. No, that's good for that one.
Okay.
It was just a precept to show that the Mashak was following all the commandments for those non-Messianic people that want to say this and that. You know, he said he was God. He never said he was God or Yahweh. He never said that.
Right.
He followed he made himself an example. The same things he did, we're supposed to do. We're supposed to take up our cross and follow after him. But let's go ahead on. Let's go 4 again.
Matthew 8 verse 4. And Jesus said unto him, see thou tell no man, but go thy way, show thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a testimony unto them. Verse 5. And when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion beseeching him.
Now, he came to Capernaum. The correct pronunciation of that is Kapar Nahum. There was a prophet named Nahum. And that means, Kapar means village, village. So, and if you get a map of the New Testament, so-called New Testament, biblical times, you'll see Kapar Nahum, you'll see Kapar something else, Kapar, and Nahum means comfort. So the village of comfort. Names mean something. That's why we're reading the name J-E-S-U-S. But we don't say that name because we know that's not his name. His name is Yahweh Shah. That's his name. Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. Now, we were taught his name as J-E-S-U-S, and then Christ was like his last name. But in Hebrew, there's a meaning for that. Yahweh Shah, Yah's salvation, or Yah's deliverance, HaMashiach, the anointed. So, we can be Hamashiach because we are anointed to do things. Not as the priests were anointed with the oil and those things. We are baptized with the Spirit. As said in one passage here, it says, John came baptizing with water, but he's going to come baptizing with the Spirit. So now, with that Capernaum, the village of comfort, there was a centurion beseeching him.
6, saying, Lord, my servant liveth at home, sick of the palsy, grievously tormented.
Another sick person, paralyzed, the palsy. He was paralyzed.
Verse 7, and Jesus said unto him, I will come and heal him.
Now watch this faith.
Verse 8, the centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof.
He's humbling himself. One thing most of us cannot do today, humble ourselves. We want to be great. We want to be known. We want to be like verse 7 says, known in the square, say prayers on the corner so we can be called great men of the Most High. That's what we want. We don't want to humble ourselves. Read that again. Watch this humility. Watch this.
Verse 8, the centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but thou speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed.
Now he's going to tell you who he is.
Verse 9, for I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to this man, go, and he goeth, and to another, come, and he cometh, and to my servant, do this, and he doeth it.
So now, he's telling you, I have power. But for you, I'm humbling myself. This power means nothing when it comes to you. This is how we ought to live our lives today. I don't care how much money you have. They say money is power. I don't care what you have. I don't care what you know. When it comes to Mashiach and Yahweh, you should forget all that stuff. Humble yourself before the Most High.
Verse 10, when Jesus heard it, he marveled and said to them that followed, verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel.
I have not found so much humility. Because the Pharisees in chapter 7, they were walking around sounding bells and whistles before. They were exalted. Like a lot of these Hebrews are today. They exalt themselves. They learn the book and they exalt themselves through much learning, through much knowledge in the book. But they have no spirit. No spirit, no humility. You get these preachers, and it's everywhere. It's not just in the Hebrew nation. It's everywhere. It's a worldly trait. Mashiach humbled himself. So now here you come, and this is the word of the Most High. So now here you come. You've been reading words out of this history book. It's called the Bible, and now you exalted and you know everything, and nobody can tell you nothing. You're going to lose. Find me a man that knows the scriptures, that can debate the scriptures to a T. And I'll show you a man that has a lot of trash in his life. A lot of stuff in his house is not right. I can guarantee you that. Because a lot of people study to cover things. I guarantee you that. Be of a contrite spirit. Humble yourself before the Most High. Do you know that you can learn this whole Bible word from Genesis to Revelations, and the Most High give you a brain aneurysm, and you can't even speak anymore? Check yourself before you wreck yourself. All right, let's go.
Verse 11, and I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven.
Okay, let's go to Isaiah. Let's see what he's talking about. Isaiah, the 2nd chapter, 2nd and 3rd verses.
Isaiah 2 and verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established.
When?
Shall be in the last days.
The last days. Are we in the last days?
That the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established.
Where's this mountain?
In the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it.
Let's see where this mountain is. Go, keep going.
Verse 3, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob.
Of who?
Of the God of Jacob.
Uh-huh.
And he will teach us of his ways.
Uh-huh.
And we will walk in his path.
Uh-huh.
For out of Zion.
Out of where?
Out of Zion
Uh-huh.
shall come forth the law.
Uh-huh.
And the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
Now, to all you Bible scholars who are here in America blasting people, arguing, debating, that's Bible. That's Bible. The top of the hills in Zion, that's Bible. So all the stuff you think you know here, let's get there first. Draw back, Jacob. Stop arguing with your brothers. Come with humility. No, you can't even heal a cold. You can't pray for anybody in their healed because you're too exalted. The Bible gives us an example. Why do you think these stories were written? Why do you think the Most High allowed this to be in this Bible? To stop it. Just stop it. And love one another. Treat each other like. Love your neighbor as yourself. The second and greatest commandment. Fear the Most High. The first, the great, know that who the Most High is. Love him with all your heart, body, mind, and soul. And the second and greatest commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself. Let's go back to Matthew 8.
Matthew 8 and verse 11. Mm-hmm. And I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven.
Now let's see who outer darkness is made for.
But the children of the kingdom the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness, and there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Humble yourself, because there's a place waiting for you, exalted ones. The ones who don't love their neighbor as their self. The one who, when you break those two commandments that were given to us, there's a place for you. The children of the kingdom, there's a place for you. If you don't have any teeth, you're gonna grow some and gnash them. If you can't get tears, you're gonna grow some tears, and they gonna flow.
Verse 13. And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed.
What?
As thou hast believed.
As thou hast believed. As thou hast believed. What?
So be it done unto thee.
So according to your faith,
right.
Be it as unto you.
Right.
B'Shem Mashiach Yahushua. Blessed be the Most High.
And his servant was healed in the self same hour.
In the self same hour. Just because we come and we pray for you and you don't pop up and start doing cartwheels and backflips, don't mean you're not going to be healed. Because the Bible says, as thou hast believed.
Right. Yep.
So if you believe Big Judah or Jerusalem can come and touch you and you're delivered, guess what? B'Shem Mashiach Yahushua.
Verse 14. And when Jesus was come into Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laid, and sick of a fever. And he touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she arose and ministered unto him.
Why? Because it was a custom that when you had guests, the women went and they ministered. When Mashiach walked in his house, he saw her. He touched her. She didn't ask him to touch her. Read that again.
Verse 14. And when Jesus was come into Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laid, and sick of a fever, and he touched her hand, and the fever left.
Watch this.
And she arose and ministered unto them.
Right then, that was such harsh desire. Because in her heart, with the way this is worded, when they came in, she knew she was supposed to be doing something, or she was used to doing something. She probably laid there and was like, if I could just get up, I would just go and get these men something to eat or minister unto them. And the desires of her heart was met, because as soon as she, give me 15.
15. And he touched her hand, and the fever left, and she arose and ministered unto them.
One touch. He probably, because the scripture says greet the house, he probably said shalom. and peace came unto her, and she got up and did what she wanted to do.
Verse 16. When the even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and he cast out the spirits with his word.
With his what?
With his word.
Did he touch the ones that were sick of the spirits?
With his word.
He only spoke. Don't touch demonic people.
And healed all that were sick. Verse 17.
Notice, Salakia, notice, he only spoke to demonic people. He never touched them. Watch your company. Watch your company, because you'll find yourself hanging around the wrong people, touching you, child, this and that. Boom. Guess what just happened? They just transferred something to you. That's why these women in these churches, this preacher's always laying hands on them. He has a sexual demon in him. Guess what? Now your wife's sleeping with the preacher and don't even know how she got in this predicament because he kept touching her. He kept saying things over her. I'm going to speak a word into your life, and don't let the devil in hell fool you. I am the man of God. Yeah, you're all right. He's the man of God. All right. He's just not Yahweh.
17. That it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, Himself took our infirmities and bare our sickness.
Isaiah 53. Turn right to it. Isaiah 53. Prophecy. Remember, I came not to destroy the law or the prophets, but to fulfill. I came not to destroy, but to fulfill. Isaiah is when you want to hear about the fulfillment of Mashiach, it's all through Isaiah. Who is Isaiah concerning? Who is Isaiah concerning? Judah. It's concerning Judah. Right quick, go to Isaiah 1:1.
Isaiah 1 verse 1. The vision of Isaiah the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah.
Who?
Judah.
Who?
Judah.
Israel.
Judah. And Jerusalem.
And Jerusalem. So it's kind of sound like Joel 3rd chapter, huh?
Right. In the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, king of Judah.
Kings of Judah. All right, now let's go back to Isaiah 53.
Isaiah 53 and verse 4. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted.
Give me 5.
But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was buried for our iniquities, and chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed.
Hallelujah. That's the prophecy. Well, somebody say, well, you didn't get striped yet. Well, the prophecy is and was and will be, that's going to happen. And guess what? It did. We were healed. He told who he was. He told what his job was. And then he proved it. He's in Matthew 4. Give me Matthew 4 and 16 and 17. No, 16, I'm sorry.
Matthew 4 verse 16.
Matter of fact, start at 14.
Matthew 4 verse 14. That it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet.
There it is again.
Saying, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles, the people which sat in darkness saw great light, and to them which sat in the region and shadow of death, light is sprung up.
If you've been in the darkness and light comes, that you can see everything, guess what? You're healed. You're healed. By his stripes we were healed. By his presence we were healed. Guess what? He walks in Peter's house, touches his mother's hand. He cleansed the leper. Even the centurion. The centurion is a captain of 100, 1,000, something like that in the Roman army. So now all this healing is going forth. And now we are to have the same signs and wonders as Mashiach. How can we do that? Well, we are Yasher Allah. We are Israel. If we do this, he gave power. Let's keep going. I'm going to prove this to you.
Matthew 8 and verse 18. Now when Jesus saw the great multitudes about him, he gave commandment to depart unto the other side.
So the other side of Capernaum, or Capernaum, the same vicinity, to go across from Capernaum, and that is Bethsaida. In that area, it's called the head of the. It's all the Sea of Galilee. When you look it up, it's all the Sea of Galilee with Capernaum and Bethsaida. So he probably went right back to Bethsaida.
Verse 19. And a certain scribe came and said unto him, Master, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest.
Now watch this answer. It's very peculiar. Watch this answer.
Verse 20. And Jesus saith unto him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath nowhere to lay his head.
What does that have to do with this man following him? Read it again. Look at this. Somebody came to him and made a statement, and he just Willy Wonka it.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Verse 20.
Go back to 19.
Verse 19. And a certain scribe came and said unto him, Master, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest.
And Mashiach said unto him,
and Jesus said unto him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath nowhere to lay his head.
Now, he's talking to a scribe. Scribes were the penmen of what we call the book. The scribe made a statement, and Mashiach just like, I don't have anywhere to stay. Foxes have holes, birds have nests, but I have not a place to lay my head, because he knew the content of his heart. He was basically trying to get in there for personal gain, or to get notoriety of this story, or to be the first one to come out with this story. They're scribes. They're going to write everything down. So Mashiach gives this scribe this answer. You're not going to get gain here. I don't have any. You're not going to like what I do. The people that have discernment of spirits, you can tell when someone says, I'm going to be with you, I'm going to be for you. Yeah, it's all good. You know how to party, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you go and call them. It's like, well, you already knew that. Because when they were in your presence, the Spirit told you something. By this book, it showed you their true countenance. By the Spirit, by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai, Wa Kwadash Ruach, His Holy Spirit. It gives you the gift, some of us, the gift of sight. So he just went on ahead and he handled that right off. And nothing else is mentioned about it. Let's go to 21. Watch.
21. And another of his disciples said unto him, Lord, suffer me go first to go and bury my father.
Where's the scribe? Gone. He knew him. He's gone.
Right.
Suffer me to go bury my father.
Verse 22. But Jesus said unto him, Follow me, and let the dead bury the dead.
It's a custom of our people that when your father dies and you're the firstborn, you get the inheritance. And you would have to spend a certain amount of time with your dead father. The custom was that that back then they started waiting for a year for the body to rot and then go and get the bones and put them in a little box, a sarcophagus. That was one of the customs at that time. So you don't have time to do that. You don't have time to do that. We've been to your people. We know who your people are. Let the dead bury the dead. They're not keeping the commandments.
Right, yeah.
They're dead.
Yeah.
They're done.
Right. And when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him.
The dead buried the dead, and now we're here.
24. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves. But he was asleep.
All things work together for the good of those who believe and love the Most High. The tempest If there's a tempest in your life, you better check yourself. You better believe in the Most High. You better know these laws, these statutes, and commandments. A tempest. This was a sea tempest. Let's see what goes on after this.
Verse 26. I'm sorry, 25. Verse 25. And his disciples came to him and awoke, saying, Lord, save us. We perish.
No, we don't perish. You perish. I'm asleep.
Right.
I'm asleep.
Yeah.
We're not perishing. Perish. If you have fruit and it's perished, what is it good for? To be thrown away. No, you're perishing because you don't have the faith of the centurion. He just said, I found no such faith even in Israel. He just said it. So now here I am with Mashiach. I done left everything to follow Mashiach. I done forsook all to follow him. And now I'm going to get in a boat in the Sea of Galilee and perish? What kind of faith is that? I've left my church. My family has turned on me. I've changed my life. I started living this truth. Now that I'm in this truth, now I'm going to perish? When before I was doing all the other stuff I wanted to do as a Christian, I didn't perish then, but now that I'm in the truth, I'm going to perish.
Yeah. Right.
26.
Verse 26. And he saith unto them, Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith?
The centurion had great faith. These people following Mashiach had what? Little faith.
Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm.
That's why that tempest arose, so he could prove himself. So the work could be done, so they could see.
Right.
Since Exodus we just read, the Most High has always done what we've asked him to do. Okay, you want to speak to me? Clean yourself. Consecrate the mountain. And I'll come and speak to you, since you want to speak to me. But when I come, you ain't going to like it. And guess what? We didn't like it. Then guess what we said? Send Moses. Let Moses speak for us. We'll hear Moses, just that you don't speak to us again. We're the most unappreciative, whining people there is. The Most High has done miracles for us, brought us out of Egypt by a pillar of smoke in the day and fire by night. And what do? Still complain. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
27. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? They forgot.
when Mashiach looked at them. When he looked at them and said, Come and follow me. They forgot that presence that they obeyed when they just dropped everything and followed him.
Right.
There was a certain spirit there, a certain presence. Right. When he said, Come and follow me, I'll make you fishermen of men. They just left. Okay. Now here we get here. And what kind of man is this? What kind of man are you to drop everything and follow a man that you don't know?
Right.
That's the question. But it wasn't the man, because the Bible says in Matthew 4 that he was led up the Spirit. It was the Spirit by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushua. The Spirit. Now they have forgotten. On a ship, afraid because of some waves or whatever, and have seen the centurion's servant healed, the leper. I mean, just so many things right in front of their face. Now, let's bring it to today. You can go and give your people $10,000. Guess what they're going to say? Oh, thank you so much. But when they see somebody else, you give somebody else $10,000, they're going to say, well, he could have gave me 10,001.
Yeah.
Never satisfied.
That's true, yeah.
Give him a shoe. Give him nice new shoes. Give him your best shoes. Well, he could have gave me the other pair of shoes. Where is that love, that first love that drew you to this word? Where is that spirit? Stop forgetting the Most High. That's why he said to remember. He's always telling us to remember. You got these crazy Hebrews, some of them, that are saying you can't keep the feast in America. You cannot keep the feast in America, but you can keep a memorial. You can keep a memorial. Because in the actual feast, you had to be in Jerusalem with the priest and with the sacrifice, You had to bring something to the temple. We know that. So now we get over here, and those wicked Hebrews, they're keeping the feast that you can't keep in America. Of course you can, but you can keep a memorial. Those same ones, mark my words, those same ones who says you cannot keep a feast, a memorial in America, I guarantee, ask them how old they are. And then when they tell you how old they are, I say, how do you know that? Because they remember every year a date. And they celebrate that day. They celebrate that day. And then I turn around and say, well, you can't have a memorial of Most High's work. You can't do that. But they're going to turn around with their wicked, evil selves and say, I'm 42. How do you know you're 42? Because every year you have a memorial. You cannot be born 42 times every year. You cannot return to that date ever again. One time. You were born May 20th, 1968. You can never relive that day again. So you have a memorial. If you go in the scriptures, it says that there's a memorial given. A memorial to all of your sons in your generations. Let's go ahead on, Mark.
Verse 28. And when he was come to the other side, into the country of the Gergesens.
It's telling you where he went. If you know about the Gergesens, you would know that I see that word split up. And I know that means something. That's just not a name. There's hyphens and things in that name. I know that means something. Start that over again.
And when he was come to the other side, into the country of the Gergesens, there met him two possessed with devils.
Two people.
Coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way.
There's precepts for that. Mark 5 and 1 through 4. Luke 8, 26 through 23. But I'm not going to go there. You on your leisure, go ahead and look it up.
Verse 29. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time?
Why did they call him the son of Yah? Why? For what reason? How did they know who he was? Because he was wearing garments, tassels. Everybody did not wear that. They looked at him and they knew he was a son of the Most High. We can go ahead on in our precept there. Let's go to Luke. Yep, Luke 3 and 38.
Luke 3 verse 38. Which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God.
Certain people did certain things. Everybody back then didn't do what the Hebrews did. They didn't dress how the Hebrews dressed. And mind you, he's traveling. These are providences of Zebulun and Naphtali, according to Matthew 4. They're providences. And another thing, when you hear things like let's see, and he went into the country of, for instance, the town or the land of let's say, Capernaum, or the land of Egypt. That doesn't mean that he was in, that not necessarily means that he was in Mitzrayim. There could have been a place called Egypt, because Egypt means the house of bondage. So he could have been in a place that was under bondage, and it would have been known as Egypt. That's fact. Egypt means house of bondage. Now the land that we know as Egypt is the land of Mitzrayim. But that's just an IE, a little commentary there.
Verse 29 again.
29 again.
And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with thee,
These two demon-possessed people.
Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time?
They would call him Yahushua, Yah's deliverance. These two men were about to be delivered. That's why they called him. They called his name and then said who he was, where he came from.
Verse 30. And there was a good way off from them, and a herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, If thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine.
Why they asked to go into the swine? Because the entitlement was given. Yahushua, thou son of Yahweh. Then they knew the law. They knew, those spirits know the law. They know. Watch this. Let's go to Leviticus. Leviticus, let's see where I want to go with that one. Leviticus, not 11. Yeah, give me Leviticus 11, 1 and 2.
Leviticus 11, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth.
Okay, so now let's go and see about the swine. Let's see
Verse 7.
verse 7.
And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you.
Unto you. You. Because it says in the Most High, in the first verse, give me that.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel.
Now, right there. So to the children of Israel, they can't do these things.
Right.
Go to 47.
Leviticus 11, verse 47. To make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beasts that ye may eat and the beasts that ye may not eat.
So these things were pretty much good for nothing. Let's go back to Matthew 8.
Matthew 8 and verse 31. So the devil besought him, saying, If thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine. Verse 32. And he said unto them, Go. And when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters.
Even the swine didn't want those unclean spirits in them. So let me ask you, where did those unclean spirits go? Another lesson.
Verse 33. And they that kept them fled and went their ways into the city, and told everything and what was befallen to the possessed of the devils.
Now, these people were herding swine. We know good and well that the Most High told us in the law, do not mess with these things.
Right, yeah.
Don't touch their carcasses. So if one died, if the swine, if one dies among them, do you know that they'll go and eat it? They'll go and eat it. They're scavengers. They eat anything. So now these people are working contrary to the Most High's law. So that means that they were not of our people in that sense.
Right.
If they were of our people, they were sinners of our people. Herding swine.
Right.
What are they going to do with the swine? In the Apocrypha, swine was used to defile the temple. They cut up and put swine blood all over the temple. That's why we have Hanukkah, to dedicate the temple back. Take all that swine blood out and all the stuff that wasn't supposed to be in there. So if it's not supposed to be in the temple, and our body is the temple, why are you putting swine in the temple?
Right, right.
Blessed be the Most High Yahweh.
Verse 34. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus.
The whole city.
And when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart out of their coast.
So many prophets were told to depart. Paul, Paul was, of the brethren, told to depart. And when, as a matter of fact, Paul was thrown into jail, him and Barnabas, and he was told to depart. And they beat him openly, but tried to send him away privately. Paul said, no. No, just like you beat me openly, send me away openly. Samuel. Now, I don't want to go there. That's another lesson. I'll get into a whole other discussion, you all. So, with that being said, Brother Rosalind, you have anything to say?
No, that's a good lesson. Really good, powerful lesson. Ecclesiastes, you want that?
Give me that. Give me that. Let's hear the whole conclusion of the matter.
Let's do that. Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
Hallelujah.
One nation under a roof, getting down just for the funk of it. One nation and we're on the move. Nothing can stop us now. One nation.
He comes in worship. And right then, any good Bible student or any good, if you want to call yourself saved person, every Hebrew should bring an alarm in the head, because he just said over here in Matthew 4 and Matthew 4 and 8.
Matthew 4 and verse 8. Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them, and saith unto him, all these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then said Jesus unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written.
What is written?
Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him. Verse 1. And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain, and when he was set, his disciples came unto him.
So now, let's go back to 8.
Matthew 8, verse 1. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him.
Same multitudes that was following him in chapter 5.
Verse 2. And behold, there came a leper, and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean.
Now, when you see the leper, the reason he went up into the mountain, because there was a multitude, and there was a lot of people in that multitude, because the leper was there. He's not going to teach the leper; he's going to heal the leper.
Right.
He came for the healing of the nations. So now he went up to the mountain to teach his disciples, not the whole multitude, because the disciples had to be an extension of him.
Right.
So, and now you see this leper, idolatry.
Right.
So when you look at the word worship, you have to be very, when you see the word in the book, worship, you have to be very detail oriented to know what type of worship.
Right.
And next he's going to say something after worship. He's going to say something else.
If that verse Matthew
8 and 2.
Matthew 8 verse 2. And behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord.
Saying,
Lord.
That means master.
Right.
Or what he's doing, he's constantly humbling himself. He's constantly coming to a state of humility to give homage to Mashiach. Now,
if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. Verse 3. And Jesus put forth his hand.
Mashiach Yahushua put forth his hand
and touched him, saying, I will. Only shalt thou serve.
So now this leper in chapter 8 comes worshiping him. That should have thrown a red flag, because you get a lot of these non-Messianic Hebrews that'll say, see, that's idolatry. But if you go and look up the word worship, there's different forms of worship.
Right.
And then you have to notice that Mashiach said that worship Yah, and him only shalt thou serve. See, in our days back then, in Yerushalayim, or in this case, Capernaum, people were given honored with certain homage. Sometimes they would kiss the hand, sometimes they would bow down, and that's the word worship.
Right.
Like kind of like how, you know, in the churches they worship the pastor, but they really worship the pastor. Like everything he says, word is bond. He's above the Bible. Not that's. Shalom. This is the 8th chapter of the series of the Gospel Straight Through. I'm the messenger, Big Yawda. And to my right,
Brother Yerushalayim.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
We're going to jump right into the lesson today. Matthew chapter 8, verse 1. Matthew
chapter 8, verse 1. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him.
Now let's give a good backtrack on what's going on. Remember, on Matthew chapter 5, verse 1, it said, give me that right quick.
Matthew 5,